today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our 75-gallon tank, and we're actually going to be going into depth on the most rare plants that I have in my personal collection that are in the tank. So stay tuned if you want to check that out. What's going on, guys? Justin from HTOplants.com, and today we're going to be talking about the most expensive aquarium I own and what that means. So obviously we have some nicely done tanks around me. These tanks are kind of expensive for the overall tank, the lighting, all that. But that's really not the major cost. The major cost is really going to come down to the plants. And the tank that we set up recently, the 75-gallon, actually has the most valuable plants in it. So in today's video, we're going to be going in depth of that tank, and I'm going to be showing you all the different species of plants that I have and taking a look at how much they would actually cost. Now, I do know that this is a planted aquarium's wildest dream to come true, to have this many plants in an aquarium. They're rare, uncommon, stuff like that. Just know that I'm a collector at heart. I like collecting things, and collecting plants just so happens to be one of those hobbies. So in this aquarium, I have the rarest of the rare plants that I have. Many of them are not available for sale until I have a lot of them and I don't need them anymore. But we'll go into depth in each species and I'll kind of show you what's going on with them. Also keep in mind, this is in the United States. Prices may vary from overseas, but a lot of these are not fully cultivated here in the United States. A lot of them are imported, and only select hobbyists have been growing them out and getting them, transitioned and ready for sale in the United States. So there's a very limited supply out there of some of these really rare plants. Alrighty, now here is the 75. We have a ton of plants to get into. Some things, like you can see, this is floating. That's not where it's supposed to be, but for the most part, everything is where it's supposed to be. So I guess let's kind of go into detail. Any plants that I can't remember the name of, I'll try and look up, but if I can't remember the name and find it online, then we're just going to leave it as is, because there are a couple plants in here. I honestly forget the names. So let's take a look and see what we should start with. Let's go with this plant right here, this one with the green and the white leaf. That's called a Legrand or a Lagrange. I think it's Mio Bolde, but I forget what the exact kind is, and it's just a very beautiful plant. It has this like silver leaf texture. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but it's there. It's a nice little thing. Then we have Cripwendiddy Green Gecko, which is a bit different than regular Cripwendiddy. It's a really neon green. You could see it compared to like dark green behind it. It's a really vibrant green, and that's why it's Cripwendiddy Gecko. Right there in the center of those rocks, that's Java Fern Thor's Hammer. So it's a rare sort of Java Fern. You actually see more of it right there and more of it back there. That kind of big broad leaf in the back, that's the Thor's Hammer Java Fern. Right next to that, that purpley looking type green leaf there, those are a type of Bucephalandrid. I believe those are called Achilles. I'm not 100% sure. I had a couple different versions of Boost in the tank previously, so I don't remember exactly which one. Next up is Anubis Marbled. It's a variegated type of Anubis. It's somewhat rare, not 100, not like a very expensive plant, but it's still a little bit rare. Okay, and then behind that marbled Anubis, I also have right back there, all the way in the back, that's Rotala Funjan, I believe it is. It's either Funjan or Waynard. It's one of the two. And then kind of underneath that in those rocks right there, that little red stuff, that is Rotala Macandra type 4. Right now it's transitioning. It's not looking the best, but it should start looking pretty good soon. Then we have some Bucephalandrid, don't know the type, and Anubis Golden there. We have some crypts here, which these are crypt cordatas. Really beautiful crypt, the green leaves right there, as you can see. And if we look underneath them, you should see like a pink undertone to the bottom of the leaves. Really cool looking plant, love it. In front of that, I believe this is Pantanal, this stem plant right here I planted. Now I planted this because it was in one of our other tanks and wasn't doing well, and in this tank this is one of the best lights that I have, so it should do a lot better, and we're going to see how it transitions and what it looks like when it's all done. And if it starts growing really tall, we'll move it to the back. Overall prices for these so far, I mean, these range in price, you know, like Cripwinditti geckos can be about $10, $15 each, depending on how big they are. There's several of them in there. The Bucephalandrid, and, you know, prices range on that. Rotala funjon, a couple dollars per stems, usually. Thor's hammer, somewhat rare, hard to find it even commercially. So a lot of these are very uncommon species. I mean, just that alone, I would assume that that's probably about, I don't know, maybe $100 to $150 worth of plants just in that little strip of land right there, not getting into the rest of the stuff. So, you know, things can get quite expensive. I'm not going to probably break down every single price, but I'll give you an idea for some of this stuff and how expensive it can be. So we talked about the Thor's hammer behind there. Next up is the Toniana flutons or something like that it's called. This big, beautiful green star-looking plant. Absolutely love this plant. It's probably anywhere between like $3 to $5 a stem, and we have like 5 stems in there or whatever. So then we have this red type crypt here. I think it's red metallic crypt or a Phineas crypt. I forget exactly which one, but that's you know, a bunch of them there. It might also be mixed with another kind of crypt. Inside there's a little green patch. That's an Ereo. Now you see there was one here too, but I think I buried it too much. And then this one here, I don't know if it's going to survive or not, but that one's doing really well in the back there. This all came from a tissue culture pack that we recently got in from one of our suppliers. I wanted to see how they go. I mean, even if one of them survive, it's well worth it, because buying one of these just flat out, it's Ereo crenina or something like that. And I mean, they range probably about $15 just for one, maybe slightly more. So it's quite good to just have one that survives. Really good stuff. Up here in the front, we have Pogostemon Hellfire. So this is, I gotta check here. So this is a green one. So that's regular green one. That's regular green one. That's some Thor's Hammer Java Fern that just floated away where it was supposed to be. Now this is Pogostemon Hellfire Red, and you can see the difference in color. It's white and kind of reddish as opposed to the all green. So this one right here is $10 per piece. So we got a couple pieces here, there, and over here. So that's kind of the foreground there. Is just I'm expecting this to fully carpet out over the course of the next several months, which would be awesome. One, because when I'm ready to trim, going to be a lot of extra money coming in, because I'll be able to sell these off. And at $10 a pop, actually these might go for more than $10 a pop. I think the cheapest I saw hobbyist might actually be like more like $15, $20 a pop from retail. But either way, I mean, that's significant for a plant. Once it gets going, it grows really quickly. The problem is it is super hard to get growing. So once it establishes, and like something like this is a nice clump. Like this is going to grow, look really good. So I'm very happy to see it progressing. It was doing really well in the 55, so we'll hopefully have it doing really well in this tank shortly. Let's see, next up behind those is that little stem there. That's actually not Pogostemon Hellfire directly behind it. That's another type of hygro that I had in another tank, wasn't doing too well. I'm going to see how it grows in here. Hopefully it comes in really well, but still on to be determined if it'll do well. I actually forget the name. I think it starts with an O. Then we have some more crypts. I'm pretty sure these are the metallic reds, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check these if I can figure it out. But more rare crypts like these. All these crypts right here are super rare. Anubis Golden right there. Some Bucephalandrid next to it. I also have a little tiny white Anubis right there hanging onto that rock. I don't know if it's going to do well. We'll see. Behind there, those stems with those purpley leaves, I actually don't know the species. We've kind of tried to figure it out. Many people have told me what they think it is. I think it's either Hygro Tiger or it's a type of Penica, or I think it's pronounced, or Penica, something like that. I don't know. It's really cool. It was growing in the other tank, and I have yet to get a correct ID on it. But regardless of what it is, it's probably like a $2 to $5 stem as well. Directly in front of that, the red right there is Ludwigia seneglensis. Very beautiful red plant, one of my favorite plants, and it's finally doing well. I've tried it in many tanks, has never done well, and finally I have the opportunity to get it again and put it in this tank, and really, really happy with it. I did miss right in front of that Java fern. If you look down there, those little tiny green leaves in those rocks, that's Funjan or Waynard. That's a type of Rotala. It's going to grow really nicely there, I think. So it'd be really cool to see. Behind those is what's floating up here, this Senegalesis Balim. These can range like $3 to $5 a stem. Also, there's about 50 to 70 stems in there, so that's quite expensive. Luckily, I got it at a pretty good price. Somebody wanted to get rid of them. I said, hey, I'll take them all. So there's a substantial amount in there, so those will be really nice once they're ready to be trimmed and whatnot. In front of that, I got Sao Paulo, which is another cool little red plant that I've had for a while. That's about $2 to $3 a stem. Nothing crazy, but it's not a very common plant that you'll find. In front of that, on that little branch, and right in front of that rock, not talking about that bunch there, but that bunch, those are the Anubis Snow White and Anubis, Anubis Snow White and Anubis Marbled and Anubis Variegated, stuff like that. One of those Anubis, just one single piece, is about $120 alone, so it's really cool. Directly in front of that, the little bushy green, that's Mini Omira. I love that plant. I just wish it would grow better for me, and the previous tank that I had it in was covered in algae, so I'm hoping this time around won't be the case, but we'll see as we go along. Then I have another little tiny piece of Anubis here. It's a Pangolino, which is like $15, $20. Then we have, this is Anubis Marble. This came from a tissue culture pack, as well as the Ireo over there. This was really nice looking though, big old clump. So I'm really happy with that. Looks great. Directly behind that, we have some Bucephalandra on the rocks, and also directly in front of it is some Crypt Plank Flamingos. Now, we got these on tissue cultures too. One I've had, so I've had that for a while. Then I got this little bunch, that bunch over there, and I want to say that right there. And those came from the tissue culture pack, and those are doing phenomenal. I'm so glad to see them doing well. It was a little hit and miss, because that one there actually had no leaves whatsoever. They melted completely down, and it's already got 3-4 leaves popping up, so that's fantastic. Oh, so many more to name. We're only about halfway through. Let's see. Directly behind the boost clump there, that's some red dwarf's parrot's feather, which is actually transitioning. Literally, somebody had ordered some and the bottoms didn't look good, so I trimmed them, gave them the tops because that was a good looking portion, and I'm regrowing the bottoms, and they've already got, you know, several segments of leaves there, so they're looking really, really cool. They're gonna hopefully grow really quickly, well, both hopefully and unhopefully, because then I'll have to trim them a lot, but we'll see. They should do really well in this tank. Behind that, that's Rotala Magenta. Rare sort of Rotala. Looks really, really cool, but it is very similar looking to the other plant that's right there, that Amania. That's Amania, I forget the exact name. I want to say it's Senegalesis, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look at it. This is Rotala, this like stem plant right here going like this. That's Rotala Coin Leaf, I believe it's called, and that one's just growing out of control. It's doing really well, so I'm gonna have to get in there, trim that up, replant some stems, and get it going. You can see here it's actually coming down into the rocks as well. Directly in that little cove there, you can see right there in the middle, those are Kufios. They're a very hard to grow stem plant, at least in my experience, but they're doing really well in this tank, so I'm finally having some success with them. You see, like, a lot of people, they get upset when they can't grow plants, and not everybody can grow every plant. I've killed tons of those plants before. I've also killed the other Ludwigias, Senegalesis, and these things aren't cheap. Those are like $5 to $10 a stem, those red ones there. So things can get very expensive, and it especially hurts when you kill expensive plants. So it gets expensive. So yeah, those are doing well, the Kufias. Then I have these little tiny Rotalas, and like, I'll try to zoom in, but I can't zoom in any more than I am here. They're just super tiny leaved Rotala, Rotala species. I think it's Rotala species Mini Type 1 or Type 3, something like that. It's just really cool. Or no, Pearl, Rotala Pearl something. And those are really cool. I like looking at those. You got some Anubis Nana Golden, some more of that. We got some more Thor's Hammer Java Fern, a large clump of boost there. This is Crypt Willisii, I believe. I don't know, it's doing all right. I don't know, it's been okay since I got it. This right here is more crypts that I'm not 100% sure what the name is. But then here we have the Iwaguzi sword, 2009. Now that sword right there, even though it's like hard to see because the crypts are kind of shading it out, that's a $125 plant, just that one plant alone. So that's kind of pricey. This is a new type of plant. I completely forget the name of it, but we had it on the website. I can't remember the name for the life of me. But it's a cool little carpeting plant. I'm just letting it grow out, see what it does, see if I like it. We got some more bucephalandrid, more Anubis in this area. We also have Gradioli vidictioli or something like that. I'm sorry, I butcher some of these names. But it's a green stem plant down there, which I actually have to move that stuff because it looks like it might be shading it. Then we have some crypt. What is this? This is crypt. No, that's Cryptophenius right there. That brown crypt. That's Cryptophenius. That's growing phenomenal there. Hopefully, should get a really big bush growing. Let's see. Behind there, it's gonna be hard to see. Let me see. I have actually a long set of tweezers. Actually, hold on. Okay, I have a long set of tweezers so I could get in here. This plant right here. This is Bacopa colorata. Really, that one right there that I'm hitting with the thing. Really cool looking Bacopa. It actually will get pinkish leaves at the top once it reaches closer to the light and gets brighter light. So it'll do really cool and look really cool colors. Next to that is Limno ruguzia. We've sold that in the past, but then I killed it by accident. I don't know how, but it all died on me and then it came back. We're going to take a look at the side because it's going to be a little bit easier to see. Right behind there, let me get out the tweezers again. This pink plant here, right next to that, that's Rotala butterfly mini, type 4. This is Limnobaleme, really cool stem plant. This is some Huttonia that I have over here in this corner. It's not so much of a rare plant, but I haven't seen much of it before. A lot of this is kind of jumbled up on each other, so I'm going to have to get in here and clean that out. There actually goes a Anubis marbled variegated. Back over here in the front, on that little ledge right there, I tried blending it in with the rock, but that's actually some rare Anubis as well. Some marbles and variegated. What happened basically is in the 55, if you've watched the video of my rare Anubis video, all the stuff that I made and attached to things, some of it wound up dying back and kind of floating away. And then when I was cleaning it out, I found a bunch of those, so I put them all there. And they're doing well there, so we'll let them grow out more. This is some more Cryptophenius, I believe, or one of the other crypts. I'll have to figure it out. And that's really it. I mean, if you were to total this up, it's probably about $1,000 worth of plants, maybe slightly more. And there's still actually a couple more plants in the 55, which I have to add, which, if you want to take a look at the 55. Here's the 55 currently in its current state. We still have a little bit more to go. I'm waiting, probably next week is when I'll start transferring things out of here as far as the fish and shrimp and everything. But there's a couple more, like there's some bucephalandrid right there. There's another like Legrand or crypt there. So a couple more things I gotta get out of here, but overall it's almost done being broken down. So yeah, so these are the plants. Hopefully you saw some cool stuff here today. It is growing in rather nicely, and we'll see what it looks like in a couple of weeks, and we'll do another update video on how it's turning out. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like the 75, what you think about all these plants. Have you ever gotten anything that's quite rare? I know we've gone over in previous videos some rare plants, so let me know in the comments down below. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're new here, you can click that round button to subscribe, or down below. If you want to check out our update video having to do with the tanks behind me, you could click up there. And if you want to check out the video having to do with wabi-kusas, which is another cool form of aquascaping, you can click right there. And I will see you guys next time.